Is anyone surprised these people raided a government building?
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
While to many, yesterday's events was simply white people doing white people shit, to me, the preseason battle of Civil War II highlighted the white privilege that black people have been telling us about for quite some time. Still, many of us had about as much invested in watching Police vs. Trumpers as watching Alien vs. Predator. Sure, it's entertaining, but I really don't care who dies at the end of this. Coincidentally, Alien and Predator is the language that police use to describe Mexicans and black people. Now, black voters just got done saving America, and the very next day, white voters did all they could to tear this country apart. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but those events that we all saw taught me a lot about white people. For example, I think they're devolving. They look like those hillbillies on The Simpsons. They think they know kung fu. They shit and pissed in the hallways and offices. Now, I don't know who did that, but if I had to guess, it was the one that looks like Chewbacca with rabies. They look like they're giving an angry museum tour. They showed us how ineffective it is to build a wall. They dress like the Revolutionary War reenactment. They dress like they're selling taxes on the side of the road. They dress like Brett Favre doing a Wrangler jeans commercial. They dress like any shirt is cool if you put a bird on it.
Put a bird on it!
They fight with crutches. Is that man in red face? They somehow make vaping look even more douchey. They dress like the red-headed bully from A Christmas Story. They got Carrot Top looking like a proud hockey mom. Is he stealing and destroying government property? Weren't they just yelling at black people for doing the same thing? Moving on. They had to use furniture to lock themselves in a room. I haven't seen anything like that in real life. I've only seen that in zombie movies. This man stole a riot shield and has a walking stick, and I have no jokes about the situation, but I had to share this with you. They brought hammers, ladders, selfie sticks, and zip ties. I think Costco needs a more strict membership policy. They had a news station. This means that they either drove there with a fully functional hanging station, that somehow they didn't get pulled over by it looking suspicious in the back of their truck, or they had known Republican Tim the Toolman Taylor make it himself. They acted like the Animaniacs.
We're Animani, totally insane.
They pushed me out and maced me.
What happened to you?
I got maced.
You got maced.
By the police.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made it like a foot inside and they pushed me out and they maced me.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And why did you want to go in?
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
Thank you.
They really like to play the victim, don't they? So much so that if you slow down and pause that video, you'll see that woman holding an onion in her towel that she then rubs on her eyes. She didn't even get maced. She's using the old white woman with fake tears trick. That trick has been used for hundreds of years. I've heard experienced protesters say that onions help the discomfort of mace. However, nobody would be whining and bitching this much if they were prepared to be maced. Here's another white terrorist that wants us to feel bad for how the police treated him.
DC police sprayed me, maced me, beat me in the head with batons, kicked me in the side of the head, and was beating me on the back with the batons.
Look, you can see. Yeah. Look at his eyes.
That's what the DC police is willing to do to the American people. To support these son of a bitches.
The DC police work for the mayor. The mayor is a deep state Democrat on the payroll of communist China.
Black people have been attacked by the police since the police caught runaway slaves. Yet when white people are violently breaking and entering into a government building and are vandalizing and destroying a government building, you want pity for how they treat you? These white people just tell on themselves too. This is where their white privilege to not fear the police actually bites them in the ass. They just voluntarily give away all of the information needed to fill a police report.
Yeah, I'm Thomas Barani from New Jersey. We had stormed into the chambers inside. We tore through the scaffolding through flashbangs and tear gas and blitzed our way in through all the chambers, just trying to get into Congress or whoever we could get into.
Had it been black people, they would have been arrested or shot for every single crime that those white terrorists committed. From having at least 2 bombs and a cooler of Molotov cocktails, to their littering. Yeah, they littered too. I don't believe that they didn't see that coming.
They had merch. Look at this shit. Like they didn't know what was happening. Didn't have any police. But they had merch with the date on it. You know how long it takes to get shirts printed?
The police showed up to this mob hours late because they had to go home and change first. And then when they got there, they let them in.
Police are squabbling with protesters. Oh, there we go.
Took selfies with them, and kindly and gently walked them down the steps.
Several hours that these people have been out here, going inside the building.
The head of the Chicago Police Union even said that they were voicing their frustrations. The same Chicago police with hours and hours of video of them violently attacking Black Lives Matter protesters when they were voicing their frustration for being unjustly murdered by the police. The current tally of the aftermath is 4 deaths, but only 69 arrests. Compare that to the 194 people that were arrested in DC during a protest following the aftermath of George Floyd's death. They also arrested 234 people who were protesting the inauguration of Donald Trump in 2017, and they were not nearly as destructive and violent. There was over 570 arrests in Minneapolis after protests on behalf of the police murder of George Floyd, and over 400 arrests in Ferguson, Missouri over the police killing of Michael Brown. DC police have clearly decided that white domestic terrorism is less of a concern to them. Also, right now we're going to see a lot of people who voted for Trump that are going to try to distance themselves from the people who tried to overthrow the Capitol building. Fuck that. Whether you were there or whether you voted for him, fuck every single one of you. You can't support this piece of shit for 4 years and then back out at the end like somehow that wipes your hands clean. Also, and this really needs to be understood, this is nothing like any of the Black Lives Matter protests. There is no comparison here. Trump lost an election despite him trying to cheat and manipulate the system in every way imaginable, and no less than 62 court cases were thrown out because of lack of evidence, even some court cases from judges that he appointed himself. Meanwhile, the Black Lives Matter protests were built on the back of 400 years of systemic racism and oppression that this country was founded on and the country never wants to acknowledge. George Floyd was held down for 8 minutes and 40 seconds while 3 other police officers helped, and police from all around the country violently attacked black people and anyone who showed up to support them. People's inability to accept the fact that they lost an election fair and square is nothing compared to the 400 years of systemic racism leading to a global racial uprising. You either agree with what I just said or fuck you. We are well past being able to agree to disagree. You either accept the fact that this country was founded on white supremacy and thrives on systemic racism, and the majority of every single aspect of the legal process, from judges to the police officers to how the laws are even enforced, is overwhelmingly racist, or fuck you. I don't care if you're a childhood friend or a cousin. Fuck off. Now I know that some of you are gonna wanna say,
the scenes of chaos at the Capitol do not reflect a true America. Do not represent who we are.
Sorry, Joe. Pretty sure that that football field-sized American flag says otherwise. This is America. America is not better than this. America has always been this. Every time that white privilege is televised, somehow we try to lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that we're better than this. Over 74 million people voted for that piece of shit.
So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. We're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you, right here. We're going to walk down to the Capitol. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country.
We love you. You're very special.
We will never give up. We will never concede.
Trump incited these riots and then told his followers that he loves them and they're special. He and every single person who voted for him is directly responsible for those who died.